Before we get into all the juicy details of the latest Love in Huntsville episode, I have one small favor to ask. Go ahead and hit that like button as you come in. Seriously, it takes just a second and it really helps the channel out. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into it. I want to hear from you guys first. What did you think of the episode? Was it everything you were expecting, or did it leave you shaking your head? Drop your ratings and thoughts in the comments or in the chat if you're live right now, because we're about to dissect this episode from start to finish. Personally, I would say it was decent-ish. It had its moments, but at the end of the day, we all know what we're dealing with here. Love in Huntsville is never going to be as iconic as it was in its prime, but it still gives us drama, chaos, and a little bit of comedy, and sometimes that's enough to keep us watching. This episode, like many others recently, was definitely draining, but also kind of amusing if you pay attention to the right details. Let's start with someone who actually brought a little bit of levity to an otherwise heavy episode, Morrow. Y'all, I don't know if anyone else caught this, but Morrow literally had me laughing in the first scene. He was doing that whole rap thing with Tisha, and he dropped a line that went something like, "Contrary to popular opinion, she doesn't smoke crack." I'm sorry, but that hit me. Girl, not an indirect Miss Wanda, okay? Morrow always seems to find a way to throw these little jabs and make us chuckle while still keeping the drama alive. And honestly, that is exactly what this show needs. Huntsville can be so serious sometimes. It's filled with tension, drama, and endless arguments. So having someone like Morrow who injects humor, even subtly, is refreshing. And he didn't stop there. He even said something along the lines of, "Sometimes you gotta be still and let the devil fight your battles." And I'm thinking, bro, that's your mother-in-law you're talking about. But that's Morrow for you, always bold, always ready to stir the pot, and somehow making it funny. These little moments are why I appreciate his presence on the show, because without him, some of these episodes would feel painfully slow or just overly dramatic. Now, let's talk about Destiny. Girl, it is not looking good for you this season. Everyone on the show is making jokes at your expense, and honestly, it's giving a major lesson about boundaries and circles. This is exactly why you shouldn't be dating people within the same social circle. It creates these weird dynamics where everyone feels like they have permission to comment on your personal life, critique your decisions, and basically make fun of you in ways that would never happen if you were dating outside of that bubble. Destiny, you need to have some self-respect and expand your dating horizons. It doesn't have to be Huntsville, Atlanta, Birmingham, even online. It doesn't matter. The point is, stop recycling the same pool of people, because it leads to messes like the ones we saw this episode. And can we talk about the work dating rule for a second? Please do not date colleagues or anyone in your immediate professional circle. Sure, some people get lucky and meet their spouse at work, but personally, I think that's a recipe for disaster. Look at Mel and Martell. They worked and dated in the same space, and when things went south, the tension was unbearable. You have to interact with that person constantly, which makes moving on nearly impossible. Destiny, take this as a lesson. Don't trap yourself in a small, recycled pool of people. Explore, expand, and most importantly, value yourself enough to date outside of your immediate social circle. User comments online even mentioned that Destiny is trying to stay relevant on the show, and honestly, I can't argue with that. If of all the ways to maintain relevance, bringing more drama to your love life is probably not the best one. If you look at the trailer for the next season, it seems like Destiny is introducing a new storyline. She's bringing her mama into the show, so maybe we'll get a fresh angle, but I really hope it's not more dating chaos. Destiny, please keep your love life private next season, because the drama is exhausting, both for you and the viewers. Now, here's an interesting observation. Martell has been almost completely absent from this season. He's barely mentioned, and honestly, it's kind of striking. Without Mel in the mix, Martell doesn't have much of a storyline, and this absence is very noticeable. For viewers who were hoping for continuity or more insight into his life, this is a letdown. It also makes you think about how much his paycheck from the show might have been affected. If you're barely appearing in episodes, your presence and influence is diminished, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. It's interesting because even though some viewers were cheering for Mel's exit, the show isn't necessarily stronger without her. Martell without Mel doesn't have the same kind of dynamic, and it seems like the producers are struggling to find new storylines for him. He's not interacting much with the other cast members, except maybe a few select people like Fletcher. That limited interaction further isolates him and reduces his screen time, which affects his relevance on the show. So yes, Martell is still technically a cast member, but for all intents and purposes, he has been phased out. Moving on, let's dive into the dynamic between Destiny and Tisha, because this is where things start to get really complicated. It's obvious that there's some simmering tension here, and I don't see this ending peacefully anytime soon. Destiny is trying her best to keep the peace, but Tisha refuses to let things go. They had a conversation about a car situation that should have been the end of it, but Tisha keeps bringing it back up, talking in front of Destiny to her mother and making everything unnecessarily dramatic. This is classic Tisha behavior. She can't move on from conflicts, even when they've already been addressed. It's frustrating because it puts Destiny in a position where she has to constantly defend herself and manage someone else's immaturity. Destiny is clearly trying to avoid conflict, but at some point you have to draw a line. Tisha cannot be allowed to replay the same arguments over and over, especially when it comes at the expense of Destiny's peace of mind. It's exhausting, and it's only a matter of time before this tension boils over into a full-blown confrontation. User comments even pointed out that Tisha wants blind loyalty from everyone else while refusing to hold her own husband accountable. This double standard is infuriating. Destiny is handling herself well, trying to focus on the things that matter, but Tisha is constantly stirring the pot, dragging old grievances into new situations and making everyone around her deal with unnecessary drama. The cracks in their friendship are becoming more visible, and I predict that eventually it's going to explode in a way that will be impossible to ignore. Before we wrap things up, let's touch on some miscellaneous points from the episode. First, the theme party. Papa may have looked decent compared to everyone else, but honestly, the outfits overall were underwhelming. The 80s vibe clearly didn't land as intended, and it just felt off. It made me wonder if I needed to go back and research 80s fashion just to appreciate what they were going for. But honestly, no thanks. Some things are better left in history books. Now, back to Destiny. Her energy is being misdirected. She's still focusing on people like Tisha when she should be addressing the bigger issues or redirecting her energy where it actually matters. It's frustrating to watch because the people who truly need accountability are often left untouched while minor grievances get amplified. This pattern repeats throughout the season, and it's exhausting to witness. However, if you scroll through Melody's recent social media posts, you notice immediately that something is different. There's a glow that wasn't there before. She's smiling, and it's authentic. You can tell it's not for the cameras. It's not performative. It's real. This is the glow of someone who has regained control over her life, someone who is finally prioritizing her mental health, her happiness, and her children's well-being above all else. What's really striking is how natural this transformation appears. There's no over-the-top production or fancy filters creating the illusion of happiness. It's just her being herself, unapologetically, and it's resonating with her audience. When someone reaches a point in life where they can genuinely find peace after enduring significant hardship, it shows in their demeanor, in their energy, and in the way they interact with the world. Melody has reached that point, and it's inspiring to watch. And yet, we have to remember how far she's come. The past few years were a whirlwind. There were moments when she had to mask her pain, smile in public, and maintain the appearance of being fine when she was anything but. Martell's actions made everything more complicated. His infidelity, his attempts to maintain the perfect family image, and the public scrutiny of their lives created a pressure cooker of emotions that would have broken anyone. But Melody didn't just survive, she thrived. She chose a path of moving forward without indulging in petty drama, without dragging others into unnecessary conflicts, and without compromising her integrity. It's a lesson in grace, self-respect, and personal evolution, a lesson that many of us could take notes from in our own lives. Meanwhile, Martell has been having a much harder time keeping up. Despite his attempts to play the role of the devoted father and concerned ex, it's clear that the energy he's putting out isn't landing the way he wants it to. His relationship with Erin has its ups and downs, and the public can see how much of what he's doing is performative, trying to prove to the world he's a good father, a committed partner, and a man of integrity. The problem is that life isn't a performance, and fans are savvy. They can tell when someone is doing something for validation rather than out of genuine care. Martell's actions often feel like they're about controlling the narrative rather than showing real growth or accountability. Meanwhile, Melody continues to thrive, living her life on her own terms, raising her kids, and building a foundation that's about more than public perception. It's about reality, authenticity, and peace. The contrast between their approaches is stark and telling. Melody's calm, focused, and authentic energy is winning hearts and admiration, while Martell's attempts at control and public-facing perfection often fall flat. Then there's the question of public perception. Melody doesn't have to convince anyone of her worth. She isn't chasing validation from social media followers or trying to maintain a flawless image. Her content, her posts, and her interactions are all genuine reflections of her life, her happiness, and her priorities. That's a powerful statement in itself. When you stop reacting to the noise and start living for yourself, the results are unmistakable. Melody's journey is a perfect example of this. Her glow isn't an illusion, it's a reflection of her internal growth and the peace she's cultivated after years of turmoil. Now let's dive into one of the bigger points of drama that has fans talking: Martell's court plan and his push for full custody. Many people are questioning the true motives behind this move. Is it genuinely about the children, or is it a way to reclaim control over the narrative? Because, let's be honest, the timing is suspicious. Just as Melody is living her best, most peaceful life, he makes a move that feels more like a strategic power play than a heartfelt act of concern for his kids. Fans are quick to notice these patterns. Every time Martell makes a post or public statement, it often feels like it's about influencing perception rather than genuine growth or accountability. And then there's the tension between Erin and Melody. Some days, Erin seems quiet. Other days, she's posting subtle, passive-aggressive messages on social media. The public sees it all, and it's clear that this dynamic is still fraught with complications. Martell may want the world to believe he's the devoted father, the concerned ex, and the stable figure, but the optics tell a different story. Melody, on the other hand, doesn't have to fight to prove anything. She's moving on with her life, raising her kids, and building her empire. Her actions are quiet, but far more impactful than any court filing or social media post Martell could create. Now let's talk about Melody's rise beyond reality television. We can't forget where she started. She went through a public breakup, the pain of infidelity, and the constant scrutiny that comes with being a reality TV personality. Most people would have crumbled under that pressure, but Melody didn't just survive, she pivoted. She launched 7th Avenue Beauty, a business she built with her own hands, and she's focused on mental health, family, and creating a legacy that extends beyond the world of reality television. What's incredible about Melody's approach is that she's not only building a business, she's building a community. Her brand isn't just about products, it's about creating a space where people feel seen, heard, and empowered. She understands that true success isn't just financial, it's about uplifting others, setting an example, and creating impact. And she's doing it without seeking validation. She's building her empire because it's what she loves, what she believes in, and what aligns with her values. That authenticity is what makes her success so compelling. Another aspect of Melody's life that stands out is the way she shares moments with her kids. Her posts aren't staged, they're not overly curated, they're real life. You see her joy, her peace, and the love she has for her children in every photo, every video, and every caption. Her kids look safe, loved, and protected, and that sense of security and stability is invaluable. Melody is building a foundation for them that's rooted in authenticity and care. Meanwhile, Martell continues to try to present the perfect family image, but the contrast couldn't be starker. The public remembers the past, the infidelity, the drama, the heartbreak, and no amount of curated posts can erase that. Melody's success and her ability to maintain her family's well-being while building her empire quietly speaks volumes about her resilience, strength, and character. Fans notice everything. They remember the actions, the patterns, and the inconsistencies. They see when someone is performing for the camera versus living genuinely. Melody doesn't need to prove anything. Her life itself is proof of her growth and transformation. People like Arian, who post cryptic or passive-aggressive messages, only highlight the difference. Melody doesn't react. She's too busy thriving. Her power lies in her focus, her ability to prioritize what truly matters, and her refusal to get pulled into unnecessary conflict. The contrast is striking. Martell's public performances, his posts, and even his court maneuvers are attempts to control perception. Melody's reality, however, is uncontrollable because it's authentic. Her glow, her peace, and her success can't be fabricated, and that's why it resonates with people. The public is cheering for her, not because of drama, but because she's living her truth and thriving in ways that can't be copied. The most fascinating part of this story is the shift in power dynamics. Martell used to control the narrative. He set the stage, and everyone else followed. Now, Melody is the one who's in charge. She's running businesses, taking care of her family, and showing up as her authentic self. Martell's attempts to reclaim control or influence perception only highlight how much power he's lost. The public sees through it, and that transparency is empowering for Melody. She's winning without drama, without manipulation, and without needing to prove herself to anyone. Finally, let's talk about accountability. Tisha doesn't hold her husband accountable for his issues, yet she expects blind loyalty and constant accountability from everyone else. Destiny, despite being patient and trying to maintain peace, is constantly walking a tightrope. And Morrow, he's able to say things that indirectly insult family members, and it goes unnoticed by Tisha. That's how you know her attention is selective. She only addresses the issues she wants to, leaving major things unchecked. It's wild to see how this imbalance plays out on the show. Alright guys, that wraps up my breakdown of the latest episode of Love in Huntsville. This episode had a little bit of everything: drama, comedy, tension, frustration, and some interesting character dynamics. Morrow gave us comic relief, Destiny was navigating dating chaos and trying to maintain peace, Martell was conspicuously absent, and Tisha's immaturity created yet another layer of conflict. I want to hear from you guys. What were your thoughts on this episode? Did you catch all of Morrow's subtle jabs? Are you frustrated with Tisha and Destiny's dynamic like I am? Let me know in the comments below, because I love reading your insights. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button, and tap the bell so you get notifications every time a new video drops. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.